We turn now to the humanitarian crisis in Gaza, where the Hamas-run Gaza Health Ministry reports that the total number of starvation-related deaths has now risen to 250, including 110 children. 7 of those deaths in the last 24 hours. World Central Kitchen founder José Andrés joins us this morning from Jerusalem. He visited Gaza late last week. Good morning.
Good morning.
It is rare to get a look inside of Gaza. The IDF does not allow journalists in to freely report, but they let you in. What did you see?
Was a day trip. I was able to go early in the day and leave before sunset, and I visit our one of our 2 main kitchens inside Gaza in Deir Bala, and I was able to visit the few warehouses we have there, the bakery, the kitchens, and spending a day trying to see what else the teams need, what else we need to be doing, how we are going to be increasing the hot food and bread that we are producing right now. So use was a day, again, to show support, to see on my own and assess the situation of our own kitchens. And that's what I have to report about that.
Mm-hmm. The UN says that there is starvation happening in Gaza. Israel's prime minister says there is no starvation. What's real?
Obviously, there is always a gray area, but we are making boxes for children that we know they are in very special need situation. I saw those boxes being made with the name of every one of the children. We need to remember that during many weeks, no food was going inside Gaza, and this is 2 million people. So in the places we know we are feeding, we are doing around 200,000 meals a day, but this is only 10% of the need. That's what we are trying to increase. I can say that where we are, obviously, people are being fed at the bare minimum. It's not everything they should be receiving, but at the very least, they're receiving a piece of bread and a piece of food. But we need much more aid. We need to make sure that the aid is never interrupted again. We need to make sure that the flow of trucks keeps happening. We need to make sure that we have safe roads so those trucks can reach their intended delivery place. We need to make sure that all the NGOs that are actively trying to do the best they can to take care of people inside Gaza, and this is beyond food, obviously medicines, etc., we need to make sure that the aid is massive enough that we don't get to those moments where in some areas, like in the north, that is still very difficult to reach, that we know that people are desperate for food.
You mentioned for many weeks no food was allowed in. That was a government policy. There was a blockade for many months. That is now lifted officially. But as you say, your organization wants to scale up. You're trying to produce 1 million meals a day in Gaza. Can you get the fuel in to do that? Can you get the food in? Are Israeli officials giving you a green light?
Well, it's 1 million because we are an organization that we specialize in emergencies and in food. But obviously, we are requesting that all the NGOs that are participating in feeding are giving more access, including us and other organizations like ANERA, which was one of the organizations we work with, that they've been in Gaza for many, many decades, and many others. We need to make sure that everybody has access. For that, we need a lot of things. The trucks inside Gaza, we need to remember that the trucks come from outside Gaza, and there they are put aside, and then we need to reload the trucks that are inside Gaza. This takes time. We need more trucks inside so the trucking company can have enough people and enough trucks to have a constant flow. I have to report that, yes, I saw a good flow of trucks going in. I done around 150 to 250 trucks are going in every day. But even I will say that this is not enough. We need to make sure that we massively increase, that we massively make sure that nobody has to be walking for miles to try to reach a place where they can find a plate of food or use a bag of rice. We need to make sure, like what World Central Kitchen does. At one moment we had, 100 to 100 kitchen partners. We need to make sure that we are cooking where people live. We need to make sure that we are feeding them where people are, so the people don't have to be, again, leaving their neighborhoods, leaving their tents, and walking for hours back and forth only to try to bring a little bit of food back home.
In terms of walking to designated areas for food, you're referring to the model that the Israelis have set up with the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. You are saying that their preferred method of feeding people is not sufficient.
Well, it takes a village, right, to feed 2 million people and more in a situation like the people of Gaza are facing. That's why the model we are pushing for is the more kitchens we have, the better. Right now we have 80 partner kitchens on top of the 2 main World Central kitchens, but that's not enough. We need to make sure that we increase the numbers of World Central Kitchen, the big ones that people can see on the webpage of World Central Kitchen or in my Twitter account. We need to make sure that our partner kitchens, that they produce between 500 and 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 meals each. We need to make sure the bakeries are fully loaded with bread. We need to make sure that we have the fuel. That's why we need to be bringing pellets, because we have hundreds of kitchens firing up every day. We need the fuel to be able to cook the food. The big bakery we have, a bakery that was in partnership with the Kingdom of Jordan that is doing almost 50,000 loaves of bread a day. We need diesel to make sure that we are able to move the machinery to be very effective. But that's only one bakery doing 50,000 pizzas a day. We need many more bakeries to make sure that we are able to cover the demand of 2 million people.
Before I let you go, I have to ask you about an incident that happened a few days ago. World Central Kitchen issued a statement saying the Israeli government told you armed people were posing as workers for your organization. Is that the first time that you've heard bad actors are trying to pose as humanitarian workers? Have you experienced exploitation by Hamas?
Obviously, World Central Kitchen, we are a young organization. Gaza is a very complicated place. I know it's still kind of under investigation on our side and everybody else. But obviously, we are there to be next to the people of Gaza, next to the Palestinians. At the end, what we have is Palestinians feeding Palestinians. Only in our kitchens, we have around 600 Palestinians doing amazing work, just trying to feed their fellow citizens. And that's what we plan to continue, to make sure that Palestinians feed Palestinians, that Palestinians take care of themselves. And we're going to be giving them all the support we can to achieve that.
And I understand you met with a former hostage while you were in Israel, whose brother is still being held in Gaza. What did you learn?
Yeah, I mean, I've been meeting with different, but I met with Jared Horn. His brother is still in Gaza. We had a 2-hour conversation. It was hard to listen to the story. Obviously, he wants his brother out. Today is a very massive strike in Israel, and everybody is asking for the return of the hostages. That's what should be happening. That's what should be. Let's hope that this happens, obviously, alongside of a ceasefire, of peace, where nobody is under bombs, where nobody has their loved ones away, where nobody is losing their loved ones in the middle of this war, and where everybody is fed, where we can start the reconstruction of Gaza, where every children can receive a plate of food, that they can go back to school, where obviously the hostages are released, where the people of Palestine and Gaza can live in peace, and where the people of Israel can live in peace. What is good for you must be good for me. Let's hope that at least we cover the basic minimums right now of feeding everybody, and hopefully also the hostages being released as soon as possible.
José Andrés, thank you very much for your time this morning.